We are going to do the reading for Gemini slash the architect. So, seeing the architect as the avatar or the consciousness of an identity that is beyond programming. So, if you are a Gemini, your level one avatar is an architect. So, what is an architect? An architect is someone that can take the information from the connector or the communicator and actually create a blueprint of exactly how to create it in the frequency of 963. Now, this doesn't mean that you are going to reverse engineer from what's created. All you're doing is creating a field or a frequency. And most often, the architect will be the one that knows exactly where to start by just mapping it out in a frequency where a lot of creativity, so those of you that are architects are also very creative and being able to create what is born from that. And also the way you could see this is a painter, how it is painted from the frequency or the creativity of the person that is painting or the artist. But those that come and experience the art will all have their own experience of that. It's a very powerful place to be. And we are going to do your reading for January of 2024. So let's see what's in store for you. Okay, so the first symbol here is where you are holding awareness within your own frequency. So you are getting the 31. Okay, so you are feeling very grounded and actually loves the way this is starting because this level of feeling grounded is in a place where you're holding mastery, meaning that it's no longer just a thought. It's not even just a feeling, it's a reality. And this reality of feeling very stable in the frequency and what I'm feeling for some of you, because this isn't general reading, it won't resonate with everyone, but you're feeling very grounded in who you are. So you are getting to a place where you're ready to own the frequency of your unique being. But at the same time, you're not looking for approval for that. You're not looking for a reflection to identify who it is that you are anymore. So an example of this would be you get a really inspirational idea and you don't feel like you have to go and share it right away until you actually know it on a level that when it is ready to be shared, it is so powerful that it doesn't matter what the response is to that. A lot of times when we have spiritual or insightful things come through, our our initial reaction is to go and share it with someone so that we can quote unquote see it a little bit clearer. And that's okay to do if you're doing it with the right people. But what I'm hearing in this card is you know now who those people are and you know who those people aren't. So if you're sharing your information, just be sure that you're sharing it with somebody that can hold the reflection with you in a space that's going to uplift and maybe even bring in clarity around it versus diminish it and bring it into a frequency that isn't going to be very helpful. Okay, I think you know what I'm saying by that. All right, and then the DMT code that is coming with this is the one, which is that place of new thought. It's a place, so this is really what I'm getting from this is it really is around um, new ideas and new experiences. It could be, let's just say it's related to business. It's you have a new idea of something to do within your business, or you are want to start a new business. And you feel, you know, this is what you're supposed to do, but then you might go share it with, like, let's say a family member or a friend, and they question it. It's like, oh, are you sure that's really what you want to do? Or, oh, that's really risky. Don't share it with those people. Share it with the people that are going to inspire you. They're going to encourage you. And if you don't have anyone like that, hold on to it until you are so solid in your decision that it just doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Okay, there's one more thing and then I'll move on. The other information that I'm getting in this code is, you know, that it's time to stop listening to everybody's opinions from a place of approval. Meaning, if it's a good, let's say, comment on social media, that it uplifts you and you kind of get encouraged and all of those things. But then if you look at the opposite part of that, if somebody is saying something bad, that you start to question and doubt yourself. What I want you to do is just pull back, let everybody have their experience of what it is that you're bringing to the world, but don't, I don't want to say don't care, but don't care. Own it. This is who I am. And if it uplifts people, amazing. That's so amazing. And if people resist it and push back, that's just as amazing. Just speak your truth. Okay, I'll move on. Let's go to, this is how, this is what's being reflected back to you. So this could be the awareness of a reflection of your own programming, or it could be what is being shown to you through your reality, your friends, your relationship with your business, your relationship with your family. It's that, I don't want to say a looping cycle, but it kind of is at this point, because anytime that you're in a reflection of the frequency of where you're holding consciousness, it's going to be a loop on some level until we can really move it into a higher frequency, which we're going to do over on the other side of this. All right, so right now, but I actually love this card because people are seeing you as somebody that has the ability to move beyond illusion, the illusion of your own programming, the illusion of reality. This could be seen as a truther. It could be somebody that just, you know, what I'm getting is there's just no BS, right? You're just cut right through and get to the core of it. And that's how people see you. They are like, that person just goes straight to the issue. There's no tiptoeing around. So good for you. And that's really supported here in what you already know about yourself. So that's amazing as well. Let's go ahead and pull. Okay, people are seeing you as a master of the matrix. And you are, right? Because the ability to take something that has never been, let's say, heard before, and to be able to create a blueprint of that takes a level of mastery. And that's what these DMT codes are all about. They're about releasing a frequency of mastery within your DNA, because your DNA is storing and it stores an intelligence that's beyond the programmed reality. It's where we all want to start to move our consciousness, because that is going to break the looping cycles of whatever you want to put there, age and disease, the illusion of the matrix. I mean, you literally put anything there. That is how you do it. And that's what these readings and these codings are all about, is giving you the guidance in how to do that. It's giving you the guidance to actually own consciously your own power. That's what how people see you, is that you actually have the ability to hold that power. But you're not seeking approval. You're not seeking attention. You don't need somebody else to see you in order to own this. If you're seeking attention, reset and come back to this place, because people do see you that way, but you don't need to tell them that's what you are. Okay, so now we're going to go to what you're not seeing. So we're going to shift you into the space that has not been created. I call this new form. It's a new frequency pattern that your body isn't currently holding, and your consciousness is going to be able to attune to this frequency so that you can move beyond the frequency you're holding now. That is what these DMT codes are all doing. This is what the evolution technology is doing. It's allowing you to move your consciousness into a higher frequency by raising the frequency of your physical body in the intelligence that's stored in your DNA. So you got a 1. What I'm feeling in this is that what you're not seeing, and this is actually, please take this as a compliment, but what you're seeing is that you just don't know. And that is actually a beautiful place to be. I would much rather somebody show up in life and say, I don't know, but I'm consciously attuning to the frequency of the intelligence within me until I take action, right? So I'm not basing my decisions on my programming. I'm basing my decisions on the intelligence. So what am I feeling here? So where I was going with that is be humble. Be humble in the fact that you don't really know. And you can know to a certain level so that you can step into an identity of power. That's okay. But what you do in that space is so important, because if you are stepping into that place and you're trying to convince other people of your truth, then you are convincing yourself and others of a truth that is stuck in the illusion. What this is saying is go back to the beginning. Go back to that place where everything is brand new, that you don't know, so that you stay open to receiving information that isn't repeating an identity that you're holding on to. And yes, people see you as a master, but to truly be a master, you have to step into a frequency of the unknown over and over and over and over again. And the identity, or I'm sorry, the code that is going with this is the 2. So your DMT code for that space of what needs to be shown, it's you are the bridge, right? You're the bridge between the intelligence and the illusion. Just sit in that and ask yourself, where in my life am I holding on to an identity that's no longer serving me? Or where in my life am I using an identity in order to convince others of my truth? And then step back and let this code activate a very clean, beautiful essence that allows the intelligence that's coming through you to connect to the reality around you. And you can put anything on the other side of that. It could be a person, it can be your job, it can be your family, it can be something that you're in creation of. So, what is this saying? Just step back, allow yourself to move back into that voided place. Let yourself not know the answer for just a little while. And then let the bridge between the intelligence and your consciousness be created so that you are receiving a new frequency in order to move forward into co-creation. 2. All right, so the co-creation. This is the space, like once you see what you weren't seeing, and this is also where you move from the first level of consciousness that I just was unconscious of it to the 4th level of consciousness, to where you start to create outside your programming. I'm going to put the link for that video on the levels of consciousness in the show notes for everybody. All right. So your co-creation piece. So what I'm feeling with this is being really aware of your thoughts, right? To know, are my thoughts of my programming, am I digging into this filing cabinet? Or it's really this repeated, right? It's the ability of, can I allow myself to just not know? Or to, like what I'm feeling with this, it's like when you get really anxious because you're not seeing evidence of what you're working on. And so you start to go into the filing cabinet and be like, well, maybe I should do something I did in the past. This is saying don't do that. Be aware of those thoughts so that you don't repeat the pattern. It's the opportunity to have awareness in it's time to do it different. Don't repeat, right? And that should be in everything that you're doing. It's a practice to be able to hold consciousness in a new space. You don't have to do it perfect, but the co-creation piece it's here is ask. Ask for support. Ask the intelligence within you to hold a frequency where you can have awareness and then focus on what that awareness is showing you. Am I trying to repeat something because I'm uncomfortable, because I'm not getting the answer or I'm not seeing the evidence? Can I trust in the intelligence for a long enough period of time that I am given the next right step or I'm given the information that I'm needing that is outside my programming? Can I be uncomfortable in not knowing long enough to allow that to happen? I love this card with this in this space. Okay, so everything I just said, and then the DMT code that is releasing to support you in that is new thought. It is literally creating a conscious communication with the intelligence within you that is so clear and so clean that you actually want to wait for that information over digging in your and through your filing cabinet or going into your programming, going searching for it because it's going to come. So your co-creation piece is I can let myself be uncomfortable for a long enough period of time that I can move a thought and programming into the thought of that intelligence that is stored in your DNA. This is amazing. You guys, this is a really powerful reading. I'd love to hear what you're feeling in this reading because I'm just full body chills the whole time. Okay, so now we're going to go into particles of possibility. This is that space where we're truly, so here you can see it. It's like, this is what you knew over here, right? Then this energy came in for you to see what you weren't seeing. Then we're moving into, okay, now that you saw what you didn't see, this is what you're going to do to be able to hold your consciousness in a frequency outside of your programming. Here is when you start to do that. It takes everything that was happening before that was kind of holding more of that dense delusion state starts to move into a higher frequency. And in that higher frequency, all these particles are starting to be created into what is going to be the probability. So what you got was the 3, which is a creation space. I love this card because it's like the image itself is showing you exactly what it is. So it's this web of, you can see this web as the frequency that is kind of upgrading your software system. And then there's a point of focus within that software system. So just like the DMT codes, they're all in the frequency of 963. But if you take one specific code, the frequency is releasing very specific information so that you can have the experience of that intelligence outside of your programming in a specific way. That's exactly what this card is saying. When you need information, just ask for it, let it turn on, and then bring your focus into that frequency, knowing that the software system of your body, the frequency of your body is actually raising to give you the information that you're asking for. It's not going to be here in your filing cabinet. It's not going to be in the illusion of the reality. It's going to be inside of you. Let's get that DMT code. Okay, so you got the 4. So the 4 is that new foundation. It's the ability to, you know what I'm hearing? Your new foundation is not having a foundation. It's like every time you're seeking comfort or every time you're seeking safety, instead of looking in the illusion, just ask for that frequency to be released inside of you. And then attune your consciousness to that and feel that your foundation is that intelligence inside of you. It is the only thing that is real. And you're going to experience that through your consciousness. So, knowing that until you become that intelligence, there's always going to be a reflection, right? There's always going to be a little bit of space or interference between your consciousness and the intelligence until you fully become the intelligence. But the more you focus and you rest in that, the smaller the gap between your consciousness and the intelligence becomes. And you will have experiences where you just are the intelligence. Allow that to be your foundation. Love this for you. Okay. So your probability, and it is a probability because we actually have to do something. We actually have to take action, you guys, in order to create the quantum experience of life. Okay, we can't just sit around and think about it. We actually have to bring the intelligence into an expression. And what is trying to come through for you is you are going to create something of mastery, right? That is what you're here to do. So if there's like information that you're kind of connecting this reading to and you're kind of listening to it and you're bringing it into different parts of your life, or like, oh, that could be this, or oh, this, it could be talking about that. If you've had that kind of happening as you're listening to this, the one that gave you the most, or if you just keep going to the same situation, know that you're going to have the experience of bringing that into creation. But this is what I want you to do. Go back to this. If you think you know how you're going to do it, go ahead and take the first step, but then go back and do this again. Know if you're in your programming or if you're receiving information through the frequency of source intelligence within you. And if you don't know how to hold consciousness in a frequency outside of your programming, sign up for the intuition class. I'm putting the link below. It will be so worth your time. Your whole entire life will change because it is really hard to create a quantum life. It's really hard to truly master the matrix if you don't know how to hold consciousness outside your programming. Let's see what DMT code is for you. Okay. So you are going to step into a space where you're truly in creation at a mastery level, which brings a high level change. What does that mean? Well, what that means is that you become the change. You become the frequency of what it is that's being built. Why would you want to do that? Well, when you actually move into the frequency of what's being built, you move into the intelligence of what's being created. You become the creation. So there's no room for the programmed mind to observe it. That place of looking for evidence goes away because you're just creating. When you step out and you start observing what it is that you're creating is when the interference comes in. That's when resistance and doubt and fear. And in that moment, I want you to just move back into what's being created. And even if you have to wait for the information to come through of what your next step is, wait, because that's what it is to be a master. It's the ability to wait for information to come in outside of your programming before we take the next step. But in that time that you're waiting, you're not observing through your programming where you're creating interference, doubt, and fear. You're just waiting. That's what it is to be the change. Because when things shift, you shift with it, and then you shift again, and then you shift again. But look how my hands aren't separating. It's when this shifts and then you step out and you're like, oh my gosh, this happened. No, you move back in and you are the change. All right, let's go ahead and code you. So if you want to shut your eyes, you're welcome to do that. Just taking a deep breath. And we're just going to bring in that white blue light, let it fill your entire body, attuning your body to the frequency of 963 as we activate the DMT codes of 1, 33, 2, 7, 4, 5. And just see your body light up as a software system. This is your quantum experience. This is the place where you are existing as frequency, the frequency of 963. And this reading is holding a coded pattern for you to experience what is trying to come in for you today. What is going to bring you to your next level of mastery? All right, my lovelies. I hope that you are feeling inspired. I hope you are feeling at a higher frequency, and I hope that you're holding consciousness in that frequency. I definitely want to hear your comments about what you experienced during this reading, what you're connecting it to. Please comment, and I will be sure to comment back. Sending you all so much love in January of 2024.